Welcome to the Rural Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Larson. Today we're bringing you an interview with Alice Pettyjohn from Rainsville, Alabama. Alice is the owner of an art studio and boutique called Alice Circle, which offers everything from art classes and art parties to a variety of creative gifts and clothing. But you'll see why this is more than just a passion and a business to Alice, and how she's fulfilling a unique role to bring art to the community. We're glad to have you with us. Alice, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We're excited to have you as a guest.
I'm so thankful that you're doing this. I think it's awesome, and getting to be a part of it, it's awesome.
Well, you're celebrating, actually, I should preface this. We're recording live from Alice Circle, your shop, and you're celebrating your 6th year since the shop opened.
It's big. It's a big week.
Congratulations. Well, it's such a fun shop. Can you, just to help give our listeners a little bit of a visual, can you help describe what the shop is like?
Sure. We try to meet needs creatively with people if they need, like, let me go back. So we opened our shop to encourage creativity, and we opened our shop to offer makers a place to sell. So we had a place. I'm kind of struggling to like describe it because it's changed so much, you know? So I feel like starting out, we wanted everything to be handmade, and we wanted it to be this cute little place people could buy handmade, but it's evolved into being a place that you can buy a gift, you can take a class, you can, come and just hang out, have lunch. So we've tried to create a shop, but also a place that you can be creative and kind of be free to, we try to be stress-free. We try to be just laid back. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here.
Awesome. And you have art supplies, you have clothing,
right.
You have just a variety of different things that you offer.
Right. And we still have a lot of handmade things, but I would say that's not all that we do anymore. We have a lot of things we buy into, and things that just kind of go along with our clientele. So yeah, we have a fun little place here.
I love it.
Thanks.
Well, you are located in Rainsville, Alabama. So what made you choose Rainsville? Have you always lived here, or?
I'm from this area. I'm from a little town near here, Henniker, and so that's about 15 minutes away. And I moved here because I worked at a church here, and so it just made sense. And after a few different job moves, I thought, I'm going to open a place here in Rainsville. So yeah, I live literally like 2 seconds from here, so it's just so convenient and nice.
Perfect.
I don't want anybody to stalk me, but just kidding. No stalkers.
No stalkers. So this wasn't always your career path. How did you kind of take us upon that journey where you went from growing up here and to now having a shop here? Okay.
I've always been a maker, and so, you can ask my mom. I've always made things, gifts for people, and always just been a maker. And so I went through a few different careers, as far as, I guess I should say more like majors. In college, I couldn't decide. And I really never thought through hey, you could be an artist, you could be a graphic designer. It was more, I felt pressure to be some other things. And so I just never really found my niche, and ended up in counseling. And I graduated, really didn't find the job that I was looking for. But the cool thing is I graduated, and we went on a mission trip, and one of the guys on the mission trip was a professor in industrial design. Who knew? I didn't even know what that was. And I was sketching on the plane, and he saw that, and he was like, why don't you come over and, just, be a part of that? And I wasn't enrolled in school again. So then that was like, I can do this for a living. I can be a designer for a living. And so after a few different career changes, God just opened up the door for me to make things for people and actually charge money. So that's how this kind of started. Just a passion plus, talent. And he just made a way for me to do this. So
wow. Yeah. Did you ever think this could be your full-time job?
No way. I was just making things for people, door designs and T-shirts and things. And it just kind of turned into, I was too busy making things to do my job. So I just, decided, okay, it's time to just, and so I worked out of my home, and that got too crowded and too messy, and rented this little house and converted it into a business, and here we are.
Yeah, awesome. So how did you go once you decided to get this house and I'm actually doing this? How did you decide what you were going to use to fill your space?
Well, I did notice when I was approached, hey, you could rent this house. It was just too big, too much room. So I had the idea to take the rooms and turn them into sales areas for friends who made things, people in the community. And also I got the kitchen ready, inspected and everything, so that somebody could come in and sell food if they wanted. And we went through some different people who sold cupcakes, and then I met Nancy, and Nancy just rented the space, and she's built a great business now. She's even, expanded out. I don't know if you saw the building out beside, but she has a great business out there, and so it just kind of turned into a home, from a home to a business in that way. So that helped fill the space that I couldn't really, I guess, pay for at the time. And since, I guess, a year, we don't have vendors anymore. It's just our stuff. So we've grown in that way. So it's cool to see just how it's evolved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So besides just having the retail shop, you also offer classes for both kids and adults.
That's right. Yeah, we do. We offer, they're not really art classes. I try to encourage creativity. I feel like that's the thing, like, be creative. I think that brings freedom. I think that brings a lot of joy. And I think that's what we want, especially for kids, just to be able to be free and create. And we encourage whatever they're doing, but let them do their own thing at the same time. And then with adults, we offer a lot of classes for ladies, women's groups. We offer teen classes. So that's kind of our goal, is just to say everybody has some form of creativity in them. Like, to pull that out of them, that's what, that's my favorite thing about this whole business, is just to see somebody say, wow, I can do this. Like, we just had a Bible journaling class probably an hour before you got here. And women started out, I can't do this. And I walked in there 3 hours later, and they're like making all this amazing, it's just cool to see. They didn't know they had that, and it just showed up. So it's cool.
So good.
It's awesome.
How have you figured out how to kind of draw that out of people?
I don't know. I think time and just patience, and the encouraging them to be free, that there's no expectations. I think especially as women, we put all these expectations on ourselves, and then when you get in a situation where you can create, there are no expectations. You just go for it. And I think once, especially with women, once they just kind of let go of that, how it's supposed to look, then who knows what's going to happen. They just kind of come into their own thing. So it's just so fun to see.
Absolutely. And then you do parties, right, as well?
We have birthday parties. Those are always fun for kids. But the party we just had was a woman's birthday, and her husband got a party together for her of 10 of her friends, and they just hung out for 3 hours and just made things.
And got to relax.
Yeah, and just be away from family, away from kids, away from responsibilities, and just were able to hang out.
So cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw on your Facebook page is you had kids create, I think they painted little globes, and then you actually used those and brought them into the classroom.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that kind of stuff that you do and the thought behind it.
Right. We always want to go into schools, and because in this area there are very few art programs, and for me, I just felt like art. If I had art in my school, that would have opened up a lot. I feel like for my future, just to think about, I could have been a designer, I could have done this, and I just never really thought through it. So I feel like art's pretty important to me in schools, and so we offer teachers just a little, almost like a party, where I teach minimal art skills, and they make whatever I've drawn. They just paint what I've drawn, and then they cut it out, and they can be proud, take it home with them. They can be proud of what they made. That particular class was studying the continents and the oceans, and so that kind of tied in with their curriculum. So that's always that's so fun. And I'm a little bit obsessed with maps and globes, so I was like, yes, we've got to go to that class. And
The perfect combination.
Yep. I mean, it's affordable for teachers as well. We don't want to strap them any more than they are, financially. So we try to offer affordable things to kids and teachers like that.
Yeah. Have you been really intentional about keeping everything affordable? Do you kind of set a price point in your head and work from there, or?
I think for when I first started, I didn't know what that price point was. I didn't do enough research to find that out. So over time, I realized like that's not going to sell. I knew there was a certain price point that customers in this area spent typically when they came in. So I thought, I'm not going to go over that. I'm not going to just try to. We do have some more expensive things, but especially with classes, I feel like that needs to be affordable, so that you can do more than one. You can come back 2 or 3 times instead of one just super expensive class. So yeah, we try to think about that for sure.
And I love that you also have a handwriting class available online.
Right.
That's also really affordable, and it kind of goes back to that same thing where you don't have to be an artist. Anyone can do it.
Mm-hmm. We do. That's been maybe our most popular class because it's kind of trendy right now. Just that it's kind of a faux calligraphy. That's been huge. Just we have so many classes in that, and some people get it quickly and some people have to practice more, but I think that's just an example of kind of rolling with the trends of what's going on. We try to do that as well. So, yeah.
Well, your customers have said one of the things that they love most about you is that you're always creatively thinking ahead. What does that look like for you?
For me, I try to look at trends and things that are, especially with color. I always look for color is always important to me. So I look at what colors are coming in soon and what's going on. But mainly, I get tired of the same thing personally. So it's sort of selfishly driven because I get tired of doing the same thing over and over. So it's easy for me to say, okay, we're going to stop doing that and start something new. And that's where I think we just look into, okay, what's coming up? What are some bigger areas, larger populated areas doing that will be here? Let's go ahead and get it here,
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing I like to do is just kind of encourage that for sure.
How have you learned to draw in the community with the things that you offer?
I think I've found that if it's something that I am making that consistently people say, I would love to be able to do that, I think that's how I choose what we're going to do, because that may contradict a business model that you would teach people the thing that you are selling. But at the same time, I think if you can teach somebody how to do that, and they get it, then more power to them. I think that's awesome that somebody would take that skill and go with it. I don't encourage replicating things I do or anything, but at the same time, I think it's cool to see somebody pick up on the thing that you do because you taught them, and then they can be creative in that and teach somebody else and teach somebody else.
So you're planting seeds that just kind of keep growing.
Right. Why not? It's just encouraging that creativity to come out. So we just go for it.
And with such a visually based business, is social media a huge part of just continually showing people the different things that you offer?
Right, for sure. I would say that's our biggest draw, because we can kind of monitor if something's going to be successful based on the attention it gets on social media. And things have changed. I remember when we first started, I could just post whatever and a lot of people would see it, and we could trust that a lot more. Now that Instagram and Facebook have kind of tweaked their process a little, it's a little harder to judge because things are seen differently.
Those algorithms.
Yes. It's so different. But, I think we can still kind of monitor that. And I have seen, speaking of Instagram and Facebook, I've seen a lot of sponsored ads that we do. That does pay off. So, I was kind of leery of that. Like, no, I'm not doing that. But we pay for things now, and it really does pay off. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I know the heartbeat behind all of this is that you really love to encourage people and build them up. Is that your favorite part about the shop?
For sure. I think, for me, I think God is using me to encourage people to do things that maybe everybody else thinks they can't. I don't know if that's what I've done. If somebody says, no, you're not going to be able to do this, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to do this. I've got this. I don't know if that's what it is, if it's just my personality coming out, but I just love the fact that we can use this platform to encourage, adventure, or stepping out on faith over something that you thought, no way can I do that. Or if we can encourage going on a trip, a service trip, a mission trip, to say, go help these people, and it's not scary, and it's, if we can use a map to do that, or scripture that we can, we have a lot of people that are interested in missions, and they'll come and they'll write this on the map for me so that I can put it on my wall and remind myself this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I think that's probably the best thing, is that we can just use this platform to show people, like, you don't have to be scared. You don't have to be scared, whether it's creating something or going somewhere, or, you don't have to be scared, because it's fun, and it's adventurous, and, stepping out on faith is not always, I guess at first it's scary, but usually I would say it's always worth it, So.
Absolutely. So you really have a heart for missions. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. In college, the church that I attended was very missional, and they were very focused on reaching people for Jesus. And so my first trip was actually to China. And it's funny how it ties in that on that trip, there was a professor with me, with the group, and he saw me sketching, because it's like a 1,000,000-hour flight. So, I was sketching, and he just looked over the seat and he said, I'm a professor of industrial design. Have you ever heard of it? And I hadn't. And he said, when we get home, I want you to come to this studio, and I want you to see what we do. I think you would be a great fit. Well, I had just graduated in something that I was like floundering in, and so I was like, couldn't find a job, and I just graduated. And so I thought, well, why not? So I went over to to his department, and it was made for me. It was just so simple. It was not easy, but there was an ease to design for me. And I thought, if I had just known, but I finished in that, and then had that degree. And that's where I guess my love for really making really was, I realized I could really do this. But back to missions, I think going on that trip was the thing that God used to awaken me that the gospel's not out there, and that, we pray, we give, but we also go. And so that was just the first exposure I had to missions. And since then, I've been a lot of different places. I lived in Thailand for 2 years. I was a missionary there, and I taught English. So, I may go one day again, who knows? But I just always have that call. And even Jesus uses me, I feel like now, here, to say, it's not about you. It is about his honor and his glory. And so I feel like that's how God uses us, even people who work here. He just always has done that. Just in the 6 years, I just can look back at all and I do have a map obsession. I did say that earlier, but I think that's kind of because I love the nations. I love seeing people just come to know Jesus, that they had no exposure, and then they just made a decision. I just love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you had to go back and start this whole thing all over again, would you do anything differently?
I know I would. I just have to think through. A little bit of me says no, because I just learned so much. Would I do anything different? I may have sought a little more advice from business owners. I think that I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't really have a business model to follow, because it is so unique. So I think I might have sought. I think I would have sought more advice from business owners, maybe even artists. I feel like I might have taken a business class. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about business, and I really still don't know that much about business. But I think that's one thing I would do different, is maybe just get some more wise counsel. But I have had a lot of people. I have a woman who helps me with financial stuff here. She's helped me just really think through things and, go, is this wise? Is it not wise? Even more than a financial point of view. It's just as a friend and as someone who's owned businesses. And then I have another friend. She had a gift shop while I was in high school, and I've really talked to her a lot to say, okay, what worked then, even though it was a while back, what worked. So I think that's what I would have done, is maybe even talk to them sooner.
Yeah.
I waited a few years before I found those
mentors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Well, the local community has been a big part of your success. What do you love about having a business in a small town, and where have you seen the most support from the community?
Right. I think I've seen a lot of support from the schools. I think that I have a lot of friends that are teachers and friends that are in administrative positions at schools around here, but I think that's been a thing that I've really noticed, that schools seem to appreciate us, and we do give things to them, but it's not because of that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like they see that we're trying to do good, and we have so much support from schools for sure. But I think I've been shocked mostly to see customers that really want to buy small and support local business intentionally, like not just because, oh, I need a gift, I'm gonna run to Alice's. They say, I need a gift. Instead of going to a big box store, I'm going to go to Alice's intentionally, you know?
Yeah.
And so I love that. I love that people would choose us and not go to a dollar store. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's just very humbling to think you would choose us. So I think that's been the thing in this community, and not only in Rainsville, but in this area. It's pretty close knit on this mountain. Sand Mountain is what this is. And so I think seeing the surrounding areas, I just think it's just been cool to see just people supporting and drive from off to come here. I don't know. It's just always humbling to me to think, you were coming to my store? That's okay. You like the maps? Awesome. You like the maps. Okay. So I don't know. It's always, every day's a humbling day. So that's all. That's always good.
Are there formal art programs in the schools here?
No formal. There's a few, I feel like there's some after school programs, and in some of the city schools, there's some great art programs. But as far as the county, there's not a lot of, there's no program within the school, but they have hired some people to help. I don't know if you would call them private classes.
So you're almost fulfilling a role of art teacher for these kids too.
Right. And there's a few other, I have some friends that they also teach art. So I feel like we're trying to work together to meet that, because I mean, even in music, like there's no music program, and there's no, I mean, and that to me is just, I didn't have that, but I didn't know I missed that until now I'm grown, and I'm like, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Because now I play the guitar, and now I paint all the time, and I just played sports back then. I just played sports and cheered and played all the other things, and
Those
didn't
were
know.
your options.
Yeah, I didn't know, So I think I just want to tell, we have actually a lot of high schools, like it might be I don't know what it's called now. It's like, what's home ec? Anyway, teachers will come and they'll bring their whole class here just to hear me talk about the things they could do with an art major. Because it's like, you can do graphic design. Like, I was in furniture design. That was my study. That was what I was studying, is how to design furniture. And I had another class where it was how to design shoes. I mean, a whole shoe class, and you don't think as a kid, like, I could do that. I could do, we had a 3D design class. We had how to draw car engines. For guys, I mean, guys and girls, but for guys, they were just like, oh, I was like, I don't want to do this. But the guys were, I think nobody knows that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That you could do all those things. And so when kids come, I'm like, what are you interested in? What do you have a passion for? And what do you feel like you're talented in? And then it's like crickets. And I'm like, ask their friend, what is this person talented in? And they'll tell me. And it's usually like, she can do makeup great. I'm like, you could be a makeup artist. Like, no problem. And just to see them say, do you really think I could? Like, yes, absolutely. Just just type in makeup on YouTube and you'll see a lot of people are making a lot of money doing that. So, but anyway, I think that's something that God is using the store or us to encourage just thinking outside the box, just not thinking about the cookie cutter things, but think about the things that are out there and dreams,
So as part of all that, do you find yourself becoming more of a mentor to the kids who are showing the real interest in the arts?
I think so. I don't have knowledge of every facet of art, but I feel like the things that I've succeeded in, I feel like I can say, and I do have some connections of people I can say, call this person, landscape architecture. People don't think about that you could use your skills, your drawing skills, and, making someone's home look beautiful. So I'll try to guide, I know a professor or I know somebody that knows about that. So I think that's been fun to just connect students with, something that really they might enjoy for their future and not just do for money or not just do because they don't know what else to do. That's something they would really be passionate about. So yeah, I think so.
So what do you think would change if there was an art or music program in the local schools?
Well, I think it would give kids who aren't interested in sports or some of the other offerings at school, I think it would give those kids an outlet to be creative and to kind of be encouraged to use that energy. Like even at the shop, we've seen kids who come in and they may have a behavioral issue, and I may have foreknowledge of that, and they'll come in and then they just sit and paint and there's no problem. They're just relaxed, and I don't know, art does something to us. It helps us just relax and calm down, and I think that is something that could be beneficial in school systems. And it's almost like therapy, I think, or it is to me. It's just like it's a therapeutic thing that you just kind of are able to express that in that way, and you don't have to use words, and you don't have to perform or anything. You paint or you just draw. And I think that would be huge in the school system, because I've just met so many kids that they really can't find their niche, especially when they get into the high school years. They can't really find their place because what they liked as kids they don't like anymore, whether that is sports or whatever. And so I think that would be a great thing, just to have a trained art teacher being able to offer those classes.
Well, I was talking with Evan, one of the girls who works here, before we started this, and she was telling me how much she loves working here, and I was like, do you like art? And she said, I love art.
It's very good, yeah.
And she was just sharing about how great it is to be able to work here, where she can get to do that and be surrounded by people who get that same kind of thing and understand her in that way. Because I feel like creatives are a different, we're our own breed, right?
Yes.
And so it is nice to be around people who appreciate that and understand kind of that thought process.
Yeah, she's a great artist, and she'll make things, come alive that I need. Like she drew all these canvases. She does all these things that, I don't really have time to do. She'll make that. But yeah, we always joke. We say, can you believe that we're doing this today? Like it's always something different, like we're painting a wagon. Next week I have some shoes to paint. We just never know what the day's going to bring. And we try to do things fast. So that puts us on a, time crunch. But anyway, so yeah, she does a great job. And it does help that she's already creative and she's already good at, at visualizing things. So, yeah. But we've had people work here that really don't have that, they don't think they have that creative side, and then it just comes out, or they're more organized. And so, that always helps as well, because, clearly we have a lot going on. We have stuff everywhere, but, we've had some really great employees to help, because I couldn't do it by myself, for sure. Couldn't do it alone.
I think that's great, and it's something that they can take with them for the rest of their life, even if they're not still working here.
Right.
I look back at high school, and I made pizzas at the local pizza store.
Yeah.
But I always am like, I should have worked for the flower shop or something that I really would have learned creatively that I could do for the rest of my life. So lesson learned.
Right.
Someone take that as a bit of advice there.
Do something that you really like so you can learn for the future. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's coming up next for Alice Circle?
I'm going to offer some classes that kind of are a sequel to these classes we've been offering, because we offer classes not only in the store and not only out in the community, but we also offer classes and workshops online. So for people who don't have time, there's classes on there. But I feel like we need to offer a little bit more advanced things, so I think that's what we'll do. We'll offer some advanced things. We'll take our lettering classes to another level, Bible journaling classes, to another level, just teach some new things. And, we have always ideas. We have ideas for every holiday. So we have Mother's Day ideas coming up. And,
Yeah. How do you stay inspired creatively?
I think actually I will say this. I like to go on trips, whether it's in America or abroad. I like to go on trips because I think that it takes a little while to get out of work mode and fulfill order mode and just kind of look around at colors and architecture and things that kind of give me ideas. I get inspired by going to stores that have my style. I want to keep my style. I want to keep the vibe that I have, but I want to push that a little bit. And so stores that have that kind of bohemian kind of free look, I'm inspired by going to those stores. Not necessarily copying that, but just seeing what's new out there and what's going on. And then, of course, just being out. I don't know why being outside always makes me want to go create things. So I love going just away. And then I don't know if I rest, but I definitely come back, and use those inspirations for sure.
Well, how can we keep up with what's going on with Alice Circle, and for people who aren't living in your area, how they can take your online courses?
Well, I think we have, in the past year, we've done a website. We've really gotten into promoting on the website. We do a ton of things there. We're not trying to turn our business to online only, but we do have a pretty big online presence. And I didn't know this about business, but I thought emails were not that big of a deal. But everybody's build your email following. So that's what we are focusing on, is just getting people to subscribe to our website, and because that is how we communicate with people out of town. That is how we communicate what's coming up next, our calendar, and we offer these tips. We think they're fun. I think people think they're fun. I don't know, but we offer tips of just random things you can do in your home, things that you may not think about that you already have. And so I think that's probably where we've really grown the most over the year, is just getting that going, getting that online presence built up, so that we offer free downloads. We offer a lot of different things that we can't really offer here, but we can offer there. So I think that's the best way. And we do a lot of pop-up shops. And so we're always looking for a place to set up and just have a mini shop in an area. So that's something that we're really looking into, is trying to figure out the logistics of that, that we can just go pop up a shop and sell and then go to the next place. So that's kind of what we're looking into now, is broadening our reach for sure. Yeah.
And one of the fun things that I think you did with April Wilkes at Vintage Pickin', who we've done an interview with, at their barn sale, you did hand lettering.
Oh, yeah.
So help me understand that. Were you hand lettering pieces that they bought, or did you have stuff there that they could buy and then you would customize it?
Yeah, both, a little of both. We had a lot of people bring us stuff, but I just brought scrap wood that I had, or just boards that, I had laying around. And then when people want things, we just right then and there just write it out. So it's limited a little bit. We can't do everything because it's, outside.
Yeah.
And it's we only have a certain amount of time, but that's been really, really popular, and it's fun for me because you just kind of knock it out right then, and somebody can just take that sign with them. We always talk about how stores have these homemade looking things that you can buy but it's not personalized, and so that's where we come in, is to be able to offer that personalized. And I don't know, and I feel like we can use that as well as a way to encourage people that, when you see a sign, that's a reminder of that scripture, that's a reminder of your wedding day or whatever. So I think that's fun to just be able to do that at a market or at a festival. And yeah,
I love that idea.
Yeah,
that's so fun.
It's fun.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
We love what you're doing, and stay in touch. And everybody go check out their website, because the free downloads are awesome. And I'm going to be taking the online course because I love hand lettering.
Please do. We have the second one coming soon, but I just have to film it. Just do it. It'll be fun.
Awesome.
Yay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I love how Alice is using her business to not just encourage creativity, but to encourage people to try something new and to see potential in themselves. And you don't have to live in Rainsville, Alabama to be a part of that. You can check out the Alice Circle website and social media pages for classes and fun downloads that you can enjoy at home. Thank you, Alice, for a great interview. And on behalf of Rural Revival, thanks for joining us today. We'll be back here with you again next week. Have a great day.